What's News, Tigger Cat is the first segment of the ninth episode of the second season of the Book of Pooh. I enjoyed it now as an adult. I would have adored this as a child because it starts off quite interestingly, actually, with Rabbit and Tigger with Christopher Robin. Christopher Robin has never appeared as a character in the Book of Pooh before, so I thought that was pretty awesome. We didn't see his face, and unfortunately, I don't know who it was because they're not credited on IMDb, but they're with Christopher Robin, who's preparing to deliver newspapers, and they start to learn about what a newspaper is. And Rabbit decides to be editor in chief and delegate different tasks to the reporters, of course, the reporters being Owl, Pooh Bear, Piglet, and Tigger. And off they go doing their different jobs. And Tigger is tasked with finding the big story, the juicy news. And he has to learn about what news is and the fact that news is factual, not something you've made up. And I always wanted to be a journalist from a very, very young age until late teens, really. And I would have adored this. I would have received so much inspiration from this and created my own little newspaper off of the back of watching this. It wouldn't surprise me if any child or viewer at all watching this would go and do the same thing. It's very educational, it's informative, it's fun, the puppetry work is great. Tigger is wearing a little hat, and I thought that was absolutely adorable. I really thoroughly enjoyed it. Anything that encourages children to take an interest in the news, in current affairs, in writing, I think that that's brilliant. I've lost count how many news articles I wrote. Basically, ever since I learned you could do columns in Microsoft Word, I wrote a lot of articles. Probably not very good articles, but nevertheless, the point there is that it's something I love doing. So I imagine there are a lot of other children who are the same, and I think it's a pretty great thing. I don't know how old I was when I first read a newspaper. We weren't a newspaper household, if that makes sense. Apart from lining the cat's litter tray with newspapers, we didn't really have a lot of newspapers. My grandparents definitely did. And I think it's a great way to get children interacting with newspapers and encouraging them to look at the layout and the kinds of stories. And I think a lot of places do children's newspapers as well. Or, well, they used to. Maybe not so much with the rise of the digital age, but they might have digital ones. Either way, even in the 21st century, there are ways that children can interact with this episode and gain inspiration from it. I think it's got a great pacing. I think everything develops really well. It's beautifully told. It's great fun. It's exciting. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. Needless to say, What's News, Tigger Cat is one that I absolutely adored.